What we're witnessing is what happens when you put 99 in strength and about 4 into intelligence, and the result is entertainment gold. Someone last week commented, didn't even cross my mind, about how when Jade helped Miss Receptionist with her paperwork the other week, he immediately was better at her job despite never doing this job once. And she's been doing it for how many years? Like, it wasn't just simply because, like, oh yeah, she had an extra hand. We see that either all the receptionists are just ass at their job, or Jade is just way more talented. And I think that's a really funny and I think great representation of why the show's so entertaining. Clearly, she has a heart of gold. She has a bit of a monkey brain when it comes to hitting things, but I think, as seen by the Dark God, works out in our favor. But yeah, she should never in a million years turn down Jade's help. With one arm and physically in pain, I guarantee you he'll do 3 times the amount of work. I don't know where all these new receptionists are supposed to be that got hired. We have many of questions watching this, but yeah, Jade turning himself into a human meat shield was pretty... That was metal. Have you ever seen how pulled pork peels apart? That was Jade. And damn, they were gruesome this week. This was probably the most entertaining episode by far. My girl keeps getting more exposed as the show goes on, and the guildmaster still is like, damn, this girl's really easy to manipulate. I can just tell her I covered up this shit and she can go back to her job, and I know when the next Dark God comes around, I can use her to oinka boinka bonk it in the head. This show's amazing. Of course, if you want to support my work, see my full thoughts on these episodes, you got the Patreon where you got the full live reactions available exclusively over there if you're so interested. So, way more brutal than I was expecting. Like, I knew no one was gonna die. There's a couple of points I was like, well, maybe they want me to be concerned. And honestly, given the skewering that I'm seeing, I'm a little concerned. They directed it very well, though, because essentially they are going up against a god. And knowing that our girl was gifted the mighty hammer of Tinkaton to, monkey brain swing away, I was like, well, magical god hammer probably is able to beat dark god edgelord over here. But they were skewering our boy. Like, the initial shot when he's Gate of Babylon, sword pierces Jade. It like goes through the side of his stomach in such a way, and I don't know, like the way he twisted, it looked like it dissolved. It was horrible, and it just kept happening. The fact is, I really thought they were gonna start like ripping arms off and you'd see the tendons and shit. Like, they were getting pretty brutal. My favorite piece of animation, though, and I think brutal moment, it's kind of a blink and you miss it, but there's this moment where our girl falls. So she has a giant hammer, right? The hammer falls directly. So imagine this is the hammer, right? It falls directly on the ground, and because she's holding it, it like abruptly snaps down and her body just impacts into the ground. I'm like, holy shit. She's gonna have a concussion from that. There was a lot of detail to the animation. It was a really, really well-produced episode. And it's kind of insane because this dude, like, seals off their magic, too. Because initially in the fight, our boy has, like, regeneration, right? So, like, he's getting skewered, but he's like, bitch, please, I brushed this off. And then he's like, okay, seal that shit away. So then he's like, hey, take guys run because no use all 3 of us dying. And, yeah, the 2 of them escape, and this whole emotional scene. I was thinking that, like, the abilities were only sealed, like, around the Dark God, so I was confused at first why the girl was like, bro, please wake up. And I'm like, girl, at least try to cast a healing spell. And I was like, oh, shit, yeah. Later on in the episode, I realized that's probably why. It was just, like, in the back of my mind, was there actually any chance of them dying? Probably not. Jade was a questionable one, because I did start thinking the longer it went on. I was like, she has PTSD. If she lost someone else, would she really ever be able to progress farther? Probably not. But at the same time, she had that when she was a kid. She's now, a lot older. Maybe this is going to be a more mature turning point. I wanted Jade to live because I think he's a legitimately entertaining character. But, there was a 0.1% chance I was like, maybe they want me to think he doesn't make it. And I don't know, like, the whole episode just kind of had this, like, episode 12 feel. It almost felt like we've been watching this for 11 weeks, and this was the big, oh my god, she's getting exposed. Like, she's like, hey, I didn't have time to put on my amazing disguise, Miss Hood. I felt like this was going to be a turning point where, like, okay, you know what, we'll just allow her to have 2 jobs. Doesn't matter what the world says, the guildmaster does what he wants because he's the big boss in town. And, like, she's just like, hey, I put him up. Like, at some point, my prediction is you get, like, 4, 5, 6 novels into the show, and half the town and her grandmother knows she's the executioner, but there's a gag order, so she gets to be Miss Receptionist Monday to Friday. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting at this point. It's just really, really funny. But it'll be interesting to see where they go, because like I said, it felt more season finale-ish. And given that she's working her job, doesn't really seem like she's getting much help other than from Jade. Because this was the first time we saw someone do overtime with her who wasn't Jade. And it didn't look like either one of them were good at their jobs, if I'm being 100%. I'm convinced Jade had that shit done within the next hour, one-armed, because he's just that much of a boss. So, my gut impression says, given that they're already hinting that there's more dark gods out there, that will be like her push to do more. Or she'll hear like, oh shit, people gonna die. Aw, shucks, I gotta go hit them with my hammer now. Something like that. I don't know. Either way, though, this is a very entertaining show. I like the fact that a lot of the kind of monkey brain elements to the show it embraces, and it allows us to look at and say, yeah, that's some monkey brain shit. And then the stuff that's like more serious and thought-provoking, I think typically don't come from her character. I think that's just really funny. But either way, she's definitely still best girl of the season. She's a lunatic. I'm never going to change that tune. But this show is different. It's fun, insanely well produced. And not even just like the, oh my god, she's glowing moments, or look at that up close and personal. Like, there's a lot of moments like when her hammer falls down and her body lifelessly like falls and snaps into the ground. Those moments are just really blink and you miss it, but those are the small details that make an episode feel movie level. And I mean, when you look at the opening itself, that bird flying, and you're like, what in Ghibli am I looking at? I don't know, there's something about this one. I already want a season 2, but just for the love of God, let Jade do your paperwork with you, because apparently this is the only way this shit's ever gonna get done. And I don't even think I'm over-exaggerating. Like, from what we've seen with him working with paperwork, he's a lot more efficient, so just let your future husband to be do it. It's much better than seeing him turn into pulled pork and Swiss cheese as he's getting skewered by the almighty dark god. The big mistake they made, though, was not continuously, so like she hits him into the wall and, you know, obviously it wasn't going to be a death blow. She needed to whack-a-mole him, just repeatedly whack-a-mole. Granted, by the end, when he's still talking, she does do that, but, you know, it's live and learn. Dark God number 2, don't make the same mistake, please and thank you. Let me know what you thought, though, down below. What do you think of the episode? I definitely think it's probably the most entertaining by far, and yeah, definitely the best produced as well, but your thoughts? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout-out. Alright, so today we got Shadow Cyber Demon, Brandon Logren, Fate, Gorvac, Dark Lord, and we also have Dylan Miles. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. You'll have a good one.